There's this one very interesting thing that a lot of people don't realize happens, and it's that some people can genuinely really hate their kids. That is something I experienced myself. Both of my parents are very, let's say, all about STEM. My father was a mechanical engineer, and my mother I think she started off as a physicist, and she worked in this like environment protection thing for a while. And she started lecturing at a university. And eventually she became a university professor. At that point, her academic titles were longer than her actual name. And I often ask myself, why did they even have kids? Because all my father did was just sitting at the computer, playing chess, sometimes doing programming, which he also wanted to impart upon me. One of the only successful things he did. But my mother, goddamn, she would have been much happier if she became a politician or something, or if she just kept lecturing at the university, because goddamn did she hate me. For me, a lot of my life is defined by immense neglect. At the time I thought it was cool, when all of my classmates in grammar school would be like, oh, my mother made me go to bed at 7 p.m. or maybe when I was in one of the lower grades, but mom, my mother doesn't let me drink and whatever. For me, my mother let me do whatever I wanted. She just didn't give a shit about raising me at all. And that really messed me up, because at the same time she was like, oh, if you can't do everything yourself, then you're a failure. You're not getting any help from me. And my father wasn't much better, because he was physically there, but might as well have been completely absent. It wouldn't be that different. And there's one very distinctive memory I have regarding my schooling in particular, and it's when I was doing the entrance exam for the grammar school. I got in, not with a great score by any stretch of the imagination, but I got in. And I was in the lower half, right? So for the longest time, maybe until 2 years ago, when I really started exploring what the hell my parents were doing to me, I discovered that there is such a thing as a entrance exam prep program where they help you they help you with I guess they prepare you to write the entrance exam. And apparently all of the kids were doing that. But for me, and when I like barely got in, I thought I was like the stupidest motherfucker around. Turns out I was the only one that wasn't doing the prep programs. At that point, when I discovered this, the damage was already done. You know, it was still can't really accept that. And another big thing about my grammar school days is that my mother told me that it's completely normal to so your grades get worse a little. And she was like, yeah, like when that happens, like, don't worry, you can come to me. We're gonna we're gonna figure it out. And then when it happened, she was like, I'm not helping you. Like, it's all your fault. When she was saying that to me. So when she was saying, I never got bad grades, like, oh, you were completely stupid for struggling. And the school didn't help much either, because they were like, oh, if you can't handle the pressure, it's all your fault. We're not gonna help you. And this is like the program for the best of the best, or some bullshit. It wasn't even the best school in the region. So yeah, it was a shame, really. There are only a couple teachers that weren't complete assholes, over my entire grammar school career, quote unquote, I only had 2 teachers that didn't immediately tell me that I was the most useless, most stupid motherfucker that ever walked this earth. And one of them was a German teacher. She, instead of saying, oh, you're so useless, you don't deserve to be here, she was like, okay, I see on your report card that you are amazing in English. By that point I was one of the youngest people who obtained one of the English certificates in the country. It's impossible that you can't learn German. There's something happening, something's wrong. So she would sit down with me and we would practice German. I improved a lot, I think. But at some point she was forbidden from doing that because, we're a prestigious school, we have to maintain, the best of the best or some bullshit. And the other teacher was when I went to university. I studied interpreting and translation of English. And there was this a grammatical thing. It's in Czech. It's not in English. But she was also similar to the German teacher. And she was like, okay, I see you're making a lot of mistakes in the same thing. So she sat me down. She explained the concept in 2 minutes. And I never made those mistakes again. But what preceded that was 2 semesters of teachers telling me I'm stupid for not understanding the material while never actually explaining the material. There's supposed to be a whole pandemic of this approach, especially if you're a man like I am. Because my sister went to the same school and her experience was completely different. It's a shame that And this approach is so prevalent. Oh god, what else? What else is there in my mother? Jesus. There's so many things I don't even know where to begin. I didn't have a door in my room. Like, literally, you had the door frame, right? And it was just like exposed brick. Like, I didn't have a door or anything. My mother was always like, oh, we're so poor, we can't afford to give you a door. It was funny. The moment my sister moved to the same floor, because our house had like 2 floors, like a lower and upper floors. My sister used to like stay on the lower floor. And the same, I don't want to say week, but almost instantly, when she moved upstairs, to the same floor that I was, the entire goddamn floor got a door like instantly. Also, the windows in my room were not insulated properly, so whenever it rained, it would pour in. The water would just pour in. And because I also wasn't allowed to rearrange the furniture in the room, I had my computer that I spent a lot of money on under the, like, not exactly under the window, but it was like slightly like to the side. It was very close to the window. So whenever it rained, I had to scramble to get like these towels to stop the water from flooding the room. And what my father said when I told him that, it's leaking into my room: it's not my problem, fix it yourself. I was 13 maybe. That window never got fixed. I mean, those windows never got fixed. There is so many stories of this. I have this entire notebook. It's very thick. And I have an entire third that's dedicated to just documenting the bullshit that my parents put me through. And there is one part that always jumps out. Just let me find it real quick. You know these bottles with this like reusable thing at the top? For the longest time, my parents would store like olive oil and like sunflower oil and like vinegar in the bottles that it came in. It was very inconvenient to keep those around. So one day I was like, I'm gonna buy one of these bottles, one of these bottles, and I'm gonna put the oil in there. So I put the oil in there. My parents were like, don't do that, horrible idea. Like, no, get that shit out of here. Yeah, so I left it in there, like, whatever. I didn't care much by that point. Couple months later, they bought those exact same bottles for everything, and they threw my bottle out. Make of that what you will. What else? Oh yeah, this is a classic one. So when I started making more money, I wanted to contribute, to the household, not really by paying rent, but for example, for buying stuff that was missing in the house. I bought a phone for my mother. I bought her a watch. And I bought AirPods for her. Much more. I have a list somewhere. It's a lot of money. And it was as if I stole all that shit from her. Like when we got into an argument, she would be like, "Oh, you're like not doing anything for this house. I don't have any. I have nothing from you." And blah, 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 blah. Maybe you should remember those phones and those watches I got for you. Maybe you forgot. She didn't. She did it on purpose. Oh, the classic. The housing situation. Now, when my parents got together, they would pretty much live at my grandparents' house upstairs. Pretty much for free, They got food for free. Got everything for free, but for me, they were like, "Oh, we are rugged individualists, we struggled, we fought, we had to pay for everything, we never got any damn handouts, the whole thing." I really wanted to remind them that they lived for free for a couple of years. And it was back in the early 2000s. Maybe even before, and maybe it was the 90s, right? Where you could buy a house for a couple of cherries and a good handshake. I think they sold one of their apartments. Yes, sold one of their apartments to pay for their wedding. Could really use that. What else do I have here? I have so much stuff, but picking the right things so difficult. Oh, the food. How could I forget? I have a sister. I had a sister, 8 years younger than me. And whenever we'd have shared lunch, oh god, I would do everything to accommodate my precious sister. And the example I have written down is this food they were making. You can add cheese and various vegetables to it. And when they were making it, they asked my sister, "You want this? You want the cheese there? You want stuff?" And without even acknowledging me, they just turned away and were like, "Whoever doesn't want to eat this can go fuck themselves." I was standing right there. Really makes you think, doesn't it? Another classic. They would come to me saying, "Oh, we're paying so much, for water and for gas or electricity or whatever. You, meaning me, you have to stop showering so long." I was like, "What do you mean? I showered for 5, 10 minutes max." My sister is in there for an hour. And she floods the entire bathroom. And you don't have a problem with that? No, it's my fault with my 10-minute showers that I didn't really hit the water up that much for. No, it's my fault that your water bill is high. It's clear which sibling was actually wanted. Yeah, I'm not in contact with them anymore. First, got some time now. Sometimes I get asked, do you miss your parents? I didn't have parents. There's nothing to miss. And I hope that they will reap what they're sowing. Because when they die, I am not going to their funeral.